so I was watching Capitan America's video. Nah, I'm just joking, it's actually Cabre's one. About the streaming burnout from playing gacha games, particularly who was in the teaser main game after all. And the more I watched it, the more I found it relatable, since I too was fucking too much on the endgame content. As I kept watching, a question surged into my mind. Are we actually playing gacha games the wrong way? Hello guys, Rookie here, welcome back to a new video. The question seemed like the most natural thing to ask because, despite ZZ being my main game and also being the game which I cleared and game content the most, it's also the one that I'm suffering the most boredom recently, and I keep wondering why. Is the game becoming too easy to me and that actually was starting to bore me, or was something else the problem? I kept pondering on that question until I actually find the answer, when it actually all clicked on me when I was playing HSR on a random evening. I was trying to finish the graphic story quest, but actually couldn't bring myself to do it, courtesy of Ashville yapping too much. At a certain point I did the most atomic thing ever. I started challenging every freaking NPC that I could find into a duel of Umamusume collective. You know, that random card game that you play by throwing D&D dices. Once I beat a few duels, I can't tell a dude that was too strong for even my Spazi doll card, so I decided to decide quest in order to get better cards instead. And that 1 hour and a half was the most fun I had, not only in HSR, but also for playing a gacha game in a while. You see, it wasn't the game itself that made me have fun in the first place. After all, it's just a misery card game with the dice and all. But rather, it was the mindset that I used that made me have fun with the minigame process. I guess you could say that I had an elation moment. A nice elation moment. Baby, watch into isolation or watch it. In that 1 hour, I threw myself with the meanest Yu-Gi-Oh player ever existed, which was kinda surprising considering that I was never the Yu-Gi-Oh type of guy in the first place, considering that my experience with the card games were this freaking game over here. And my cousin beating my ass when I actually duelled him, so yeah. Playing Cosmic Collective was actually quite refreshing since I didn't have to worry about endgame content, doing the story quests, etc. And I was wondering, why don't gacha games do more of this? If there is something that I understood about gacha content creators, is that when they do actually complain about a game lacking content, in reality what actually referring to is the game lacking fun content, especially endgame one, as you see. That's actually the issue, because I think we might become too much obsessed with endgame content, and other games proves that felt better than ZZZ, because ZZZ, over 90% of the content on YouTube is about endgame content, specifically about the shield defense and the assault, which are the most popular type of endgame content over there. There are countless video players chasing high-end scores that gives you no benefits or reward whatsoever, aside from a big ego boost, and that's a problem. Because people that try ZZ see that this is what the game is all about and only about, and stress themselves to make their account endgame ready as quickly as possible. Or in worst, for YouTubers that want to make content about it, they have to force themselves to be boss killers, even if you don't have fun doing it, because that's the only type of content that the players end up consuming on YouTube. That tells you little the game has to actually offer outside from endgame content. The only fun mods are all of Zero, and the filler variant of the CSK event. I'm not even including the stupid photograph mod, which only purpose to make people check off their cards. To me, the photograph mod is the most pointless thing ever, because if I really want to go the cards, I just need to do this.
Shall we dance?
See my point? We had to go all the way down to 2.3 to recall a fun event that I actually had fun playing it. And that was just an improved version of Tier Wars event, with the very true story quest encapsulated within it. And to get me started with web events.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Now, to be fair to ZZ, they actually did release a new middle game content called Operation Bagel, which actually is kind of an interesting idea, because In that mode, you can actually start from level 5 and have 0 level up skills whatsoever, which means they are kind of weak, which also means that you cannot actually take every enemy's head on. Instead, you have to work your way through, actually doing some a bit of stealth to avoid some stronger ones in order to actually survive. That could very well develop in an interesting concept for a side game content, especially if developed really well. But since they just released that recently, I'd wait for a bit before judging that fully. But what about other gacha games? Umamusume, the gacha game also known as cute girls racing each other. Also known as the gacha game with zero side content whatsoever. No, seriously guys, the game got nothing outside its core loop, consisting of racing Iruma for them to either do team racing or championship meetings, which I have no intention to take on whatsoever, because it's the most meta slave thing ever created. Sure, there is the quote-unquote story quest, which really means the story quest, which is kinda weird, doesn't follow the anime. There are also the companion quests that are deep into the backstory of how we actually end up meeting with the Umas. Other than that, yeah, there is also the legend races, which are PCs nowadays, and the limited events, which, while some of them are indeed nice, since their own stories connect to the Uma's companion backstory ones, like it happened to the last one. But the problem with these events is that there are too much of them, and most of them are straight away forgettable. Not to mention the gameplay that comes with it. Now, I understand the reason why the game is the way it is because actually it was made first and foremost for the casual audience on the go. Because actually, I the Umamusume mostly mobile, it's actually on my PC, since the way the community works, actually it is perfect for quick, short post careers, while you have nothing to do on the go. And it's the reason why I end up playing the majority of Umamusume on my phone before actually deciding to give up. So it doesn't actually make sense making that much side content, like it is a AAA gacha game, which Umamusume is not. It is not meant for that type of audience, nor is that kind of game. But goddammit, it is impossible that you have nothing to do outside racing that game. No wonder Umamusume is the gacha game with the most dropout YouTubers ever. I swear to God. Every 2 months I see a random YouTuber actually stop playing Umamusume, which is their main game, because of burnout they are.
Well, if you've been watching the streams, you probably saw this coming. That's right. I'm quitting Umamusume.
It makes sense considering there is literally zero side content whatsoever. Like, you spend much of your time doing careers, which can get kind of repetitive, especially if you do 3-based ones, due to how long they are. And this is the reason why I refuse to let Umamusume be my main gacha game. So now that we covered the games that focus too much on endgame, what about the other side? Those who do actually offer a lot of decent side activities. Well, they aren't perfect either, because they suffer from the opposite problem. They offer a lot of side content, but not good enough or not enough in game to justify playing the game in the first place. After all, the biggest driving factor of these games is pulling waifus and husbandos, and actually bullying them so you can use them to clear the game content in the first place. But if the game content is good enough to begin with, then why even bother? The side content, the events and all are in function of supporting the core gameplay, to give players a distraction without too tired or burnout to do the main challenge. Something fun to do while they wait for the resources to recharge, so they can get back to building the characters and take all the challenges once more. Keyword side content, and as good as the side content can be, it shouldn't replace the game one. At least from a gacha game that wants to be taken seriously. That's a issue about NT and Genshin face currently, especially the first one, because damn, there are a lot of things that I love about the game, but it really is difficult for me to care beyond a certain point, because the game is as shallow as it could possibly get. NT at its core is an amazing game that actually has a lot of content to offer. But not a lot of endgame one, as when it comes to the department, there is only Beyond Rails currently. It's a shallow version of both sheer defense and MOC. so shallow and so easy, in fact, that I was able to clear some of the levels while my team being under-leveled. At the same time, the game release doesn't offer a lot of endgame content in the first place, which actually can excuse a little bit with the fact that the game just launched recently, still the 1.x version, so there's still a lot of time to actually develop some endgame content for the future. But doesn't take away the fact that the game release has a lot of intense endgame content. Also explaining why they say they all made a side content out of all the things, the freaking Middle Age. I don't know if you understood, guys, but the reason why people play your game in the first place is because of the Uber aesthetic. So why would you throw that away for a side content that has a Middle Age one aesthetic? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it is too casual for its own good. There's too many side activities, which some of them are really good, some of them are really meh, and some of them want to make you personal play yourself. And it's like the restaurant, so many appetizers, some of them which are pretty good, but then when you actually reach the main dish, it's lukewarm at the best, which makes the whole experience kinda forgettable. So basically, the majority of Italian street food restaurant, huh? Now that's about NT. What about Genshin instead? Ah yes, Genshin. The game that has solid endgame content to the point that made WoW exist in the first place. Genshin for a long time did everything but carry for endgame. In fact, they care so much about endgame content, they care another time on the game content. Did you fucking see? There are two types of Genshin players, those who actually love the CG and those who hate it. As for me, it was so bad to actually maybe spend money to a freaking game. The problem with the game mode is that it was so complex and integrated that actually you had to spend a lot of time to actually fully and fully master it. And for players who played that just to put in the Prime Gens, yeah, that wasn't really worth it. And also, it wasn't the type of endgame content content creators such have been screaming for us. They actually wanted to have actual combat-oriented endgame content. But at the end of content, they actually did release a new endgame content, Imagine on Twitter. And it was the most ass thing they ever created. It was so ass that I actually never bothered to try it. And anyone who actually tried this version of it spoke negatively about it. To put everything in context, we were approaching Natlan, we were at the end of the content, Imagine on Twitter released, and it was so garbage and nobody actually bothered to play it seriously. There was so little endgame content that was at that time, the content creators actually were starting to getting burnout, actually starting to turn against Genshin. It was so bad the situation that literally M-Touch quit and Tacton became fucking bold. Like, and I cannot blame them, because if I wasn't in the shoes, I would have done both of them if I played Genshin seriously. Thank goodness I was the casual as well back then. Genshin was the game that straight away refused to focus on creating new endgame content. Instead, they rather focus on crap multiplayer events. At least they made Milastra Wonderland.
Build a hero shooter of some sort. But they've also said that they're trying to build some sort of realistic shooter. I don't know exactly.
We seriously getting Gears of Genshin before GTA 6. No wonder the gacha industry is the way it is today, because nobody wants to be in the same situation that Oyu and Genshin got themselves a long time ago. But the problem is that some gacha games are focused too much on the opposite. Again, this is the best example of it. Just look at the summer event in 2.2 compared to the one in 3.1. Adi went from this to what this is! Ancient materials? Even with...
Mode activated.
Nope, we can actually do... Nangong. It seems like gacha games tend to struggle when it comes to balancing endgame content with engaging side activities. That's why other companies seem to focus just on one direction alone, more often than not forgetting that every game, in order to be successful, cannot be a one-trick pony. They have to get enough content that can satisfy both casual and the hardcore audience, because these gacha games need both to survive and thrive. At the end of the day, there are just games. And games should be fun in order to keep players engaged. Just one of content is enough to really satisfy the majority of players, myself included. Especially those who want to really imagine themselves in the world they're actually playing. Just having one or two endgame mods, or in the opposite case, a few CRTs isn't enough because it leads to repetition. Repetition leads to monotony, which then leads to boredom and burnout. After all, it makes sense that players end up being burnout by playing gacha games too much. It is insanity doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting something to change. Wait. Now, returning to the original question, are we actually playing gacha games the wrong way? And my answer to that is yes, because I'm tired. And don't pretend that I do care about the assault clears, which have the only amazing reward of boosting someone's ego.
What is that, bro?
And don't pretend that I care about the meta of these games. Hell, I used all that as cards to get my clears. I'm done also meta chasing easy. That doesn't mean I'm gonna go stop the game altogether. But I'm gonna stop engaging pointless card discussion. People don't care anyway, cause they're gonna pull for what they want regardless. The only thing I will chase is my passion for content creation and for guild games, and that's why I decided to make this video in the first place. Hopefully there are way more fun than this video and with a much better quality, because if there's something that I learned recently is that you can talk about whatever you like in YouTube as long as you make it fun for the viewer. And I'm gonna apply the same mentality while playing games as well. Now, that's actually how I originally intended to end this video, but before doing that, actually, I have another question that I want to ask you guys. A bit of a spicy one and also a provocatory one. What truly defines an hardcore gacha gamer? Those who justify Kane in the assault, clear easy she, or maybe do a bit of street quest and then dip out of the game? Or those who actually enjoy the game thoroughly? Those who actually experience everything the game has to offer? They also clear the game, even though they don't get the best scores, but actually experience the game thoroughly. Let's think about it. With this question, I'll end this video here. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, don't miss any future content about any gacha topic that I'm gonna talk in the future. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, take care. Show!
Baby, watch it burn, she did to isolation, or watch it burn.